It's the Red River Farm Network Crop Tour presented by Pioneer. We're in Amenia, North Dakota. We're at Rush River Ag, and I've got Terry Bruns joining me. Terry, thanks for joining us for this crop update. As you all can see behind us, we've got some corn. We're going to talk about this corn a little bit.
Yep.
How are things standing here on September 1st when we look at this corn crop here in the southern part of the Red River Valley?
Yeah, I think it's looking pretty good. In a year like we had this year, where kind of a little bit later planting dates, of course, your main worry is, are we going to get the heat for the corn, especially if you're pushing maturity a little bit. And so far, we've had the GDUs. When you look at the 30-year, we're a couple hundred ahead. I think we're doing pretty good in the 5-year as well. So yeah, I'm excited, and we've had some pretty consistent rains, of course, depending on which area you're in. So.
Well, I know farmers really nervous about, with the late planting season, what does this mean to finish out the crops? So, I mean, it's good to hear that things are looking good. Can we take a look at some of these years we've got behind us and maybe show us a little bit where things are sitting, and maybe let's walk in.
So I know we're kind of on the edge here, but yeah. So mainly what I look for this time of the year, of course, walk in, try to be non-biased and not cherry pick, but yeah, pull a cob. You can do the classic count the kernels from bottom up, count the rolls around, of course, do your classic staging. Is it denting, is it not? This was planted a little earlier. It is full dent here, so not a whole lot of tip back, a little bit, but yeah, just kind of go through and assess the potential. And on top of that, I like to look at the plants as a whole. If there's a little bit of firing from the bottom up, that's where you get a little bit more of that stress. But if you get that healthy green look throughout, it's still pulling good nutrients and it's still a healthy plant. And you can even sometimes I take a knife and just cut the stalks open too. If you see that healthy bright white in the stalk too, it's still pulling good nutrients. So.
Are you seeing much firing in this area of the Red River Valley?
I haven't a whole lot, but you will get those areas, of course, depending on which area you're in or soil type or whatnot. A little bit sandier ground, you will see that. But for the most part, I think it's looking pretty good. I don't like to give any yield assessments, I guess, but I'm optimistic, and I think the 10-day, what we'll be seeing here in the future, we're gonna get a little bit more good GDUs. So, and I think we're sitting pretty good on moisture. Of course, a shot wouldn't hurt, but yeah.
Well, what about the soybeans? How are they looking? We think August is usually a make or break month for the beans, but with them planted a little bit later, does that change the game a little bit?
Yeah, there was a lot of later season planted soybeans this year, and you kind of get to that planting date where it's, should I continue, should I not? And there's a lot of guys that pushed it, but unlike corn, soybeans operate on day length. So am I getting the extended season, extended heat, and keeping those cool nights away? And for the heat we've got so far for September, or I guess just the beginning here, it's looking pretty good, and the 10-day looks really strong, but keeping those cool nights away is an important piece, as we know in North Dakota here. So
are there going to be a lot of 3 to 4 bean pods, you think?
We might be pushing it in that aspect on the 4 bean pod deal, but what I'm mainly looking at right now is it going to finish out that top quarter of the plant? The rain that we got for the most part this last weekend helped out quite a bit, and we are getting the good heat, but I think there's plenty of moisture in the ground for the most part for them to finish out strong. So we'll see how it goes.
Now, Terry, we know we're at a time where while folks may be waiting on harvest, may be thinking about next year, what are a few things that should be on growers' radar as we look ahead to 2023?
As we look ahead to 2023.
When we're talking corn, soybean, any particular varieties you're really excited about, anything that performed really well this year?
Yeah, we've, Pioneer as a whole, we've been coming out with quite a bit of new hybrids that have been looking really, really good. And I think we got a good track record on these newer hybrids, just from what we've seen, ones that we've had out for 2 or 3 years now, been keeping very consistent, strong agronomics, good yield on the corn side of things. And with the soybeans, with our proprietary Enlist genetics coming out, we released one as an agency this year, which was an 06 or 06A85E. And when you look at just overall agronomics with our genetics, we've been getting a lot of good feedback. Specifically, IDC was a big thing this year, and with our 06A85, it's a strong IDC bean, and it really, really shined through. And for what I've seen scouting it the last couple weeks, I think it's gonna be a good yielder as well. So I got a lot of confidence in our proprietary stuff coming out.
Well, and tell us more about your agency, Rush River Ag.
Yep.
It sounds like you all are expanding a little bit.
Yeah, we are. Yep, we're taking over just recently we decided to acquire that agency to the south. So now we're Hunter, Amenia, and Leonard. So yeah, we're growing, and we're very excited to expand and work in a new territory where, Pioneers mid to later 90-day stuff, we might not see a lot of that in this area. We get to, I guess, access more of that portfolio down there where Pioneers is very, very strong. So I'm excited.
Well, and then tonight you've got a grower meeting, or I guess a celebration this evening.
Yeah.
What should we know about that event?
Yeah, so tonight in Amenia, starts at 5 o'clock. The regional agronomist, Jesse Mock, he'll give just a very brief agronomy update for the area. We'll walk into our plot here, just kind of walk through the hybrids very briefly, talk about some of our new ones. 9540 is a big new one that we're seeing a lot of promise out of. Our 8859 looks really strong, and then we'll just walk right over to our soybean one here. Talk about some of the new varieties coming out. Of course, we got 3 of the proprietary ones out there that we'll be taking a good look at, but we'll keep it really brief and get guys to the steak and drinks as fast as possible. So,
well, thanks for your time, Terry. Good to connect with you. Once again, we've been visiting with Rush River Ag's Terry Bruns. We are on the Red River Farm Network Crop Tour presented by Pioneer.